afternoon, everyone. Curry College Chief of the Forecaster Joe Shock here, taking a look here at the severe weather setup for tomorrow here in the Northeast. And there are still, I think, a lot of uncertainties on how exactly this is going to evolve. So we're going to go through some of those things. We're going to discuss here what our limitations may or may not be for tomorrow with tomorrow's event of severe weather. But regardless, this is the new Day 2 outlook. You can see a large area of slight risk and an area of enhanced risk. We've seen this over the last couple days now being highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center, the SPC, that this was an area to watch for severe weather as we got into a way tomorrow, which will be Monday, June 19th. So again, quite a multiple day lead time, if you will, for severe weather. And I would not be surprised, and I mean, again, we'll talk about this a little bit later on. Could there be hatches of marginal risk in through here? Absolutely, especially in the Ohio, Hudson Valley here. Maybe a little further to the west, could see maybe some moderate risk. Certainly not out of the question to see that maybe tomorrow in a day one outlook. But again, overall, this is a pretty hefty event coming through. Here are the probabilities. You can see 30% probabilities, could be up as high as 45 tomorrow in their day one outlook. Now here's the 12Z high-res NAM, and here's obviously the convection here tomorrow morning. Now, there's a lot of uncertainty here in southern New England on how this is going to evolve, and I have some insight on what I think may or may not be happening. So again, this is valid at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. You can see scattering showers and thunderstorms associated with the cold front that will be off to the west. Here we are by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You can see these discrete supercells starting to develop here off to our west and continuing to move off to the east, northeast. And there will be rotation with these as well. We'll take a look at some of the wind profiles in just a few minutes, but you can see here obviously the discrete supercell development appearing quite likely. Then by 4 o'clock it looks like we will merge into a line with still discrete supercells very possible within this entire line of convection by tomorrow afternoon, approximately at 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock you can see continuing off to the east, and then 6 o'clock we're entering southern New England now, and then 8 o'clock we begin the weekend. Now here is where things get interesting, is because even though, you know, convection will be weakening, and I've been watching the models over the last couple of days, especially the high-res models. The high-res models seem to hold the convection stronger and stronger every run, further and further east. So over the next couple of runs, could the convection make it, you know, in the eastern Mass absolutely as severe? Even not, you know, we could still see some damaging winds. And again, we'll talk about that in the wind profile. But again, the overall trend for the radar reflectivity is that the storms may hold together for a little bit longer than previously thought, and obviously that lines up pretty nicely with the Storm Prediction Center's outlook of severe weather further east. Here's the surface-based instability, the capable atmospheric potential energy. You can see large areas over 2, if not a little bit over 3,000, 3,200 joules of CAPE. So a very, very unstable atmosphere, to say the least, tomorrow afternoon here in New England. Here's the significant tornado parameter. Again, something to note, we have values that are up over 2, especially again in western New England, where I think the highest risk of tornadoes will be tomorrow afternoon. So again, 2 and 3s for significant tornado parameters. Here's our supercell composite. Again, supercell development upwards of 15 to 20. So again, this line will likely contain supercells as it moves off to the east and east-northeast. Now here's the large-scale synoptic pattern. You can see here at 250 millibars, the jet stream level. There's a nice trough coming through. Obviously, we have we're in the right exit zone of the jet stream, so we have all this energy being lifted up into the atmosphere and being pulled up. Right here you can see the disturbance and associated with the cold front. So this is at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So you can see we're in a very, very good favorable position for the divergence aloft to help and develop thunderstorm energy. And now here is the 5,000 feet, the 850 millibar wind speeds tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. And again, this is what I wanted to know here. I'm going to go through the next couple of these with you. Look how strong these 850 winds are here. Again, close to, if not over 50 knots across much of southern New England, really all of southern New England, over 45 knots. So during the day tomorrow, in front of this line, we are going to see very, very strong wind gusts, potentially exceeding 40 miles an hour, just because we're going to have such a strong low-level jet, and we're going to have obviously absolutely we're going to be maximizing our heating potential tomorrow, getting into the lower to mid-80s. So we're going to see this mixing down at time to time. So again, a very, very strong south-southwesterly wind gust tomorrow, and sustained 25 to 35 miles an hour across the region. Continuing on to 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Now, look here. You can see we're about 45 to 50 knots. But then as we get into the afternoon, we're getting close to 60 knots, especially in eastern New England. You can see here sustained 59 knots at 5,000 feet. So this low-level jet, as we work our way through the evening, will be increasing in speed. And obviously, the line of thunderstorms will be off to the west of that. And then here we are. By 7 o'clock tomorrow, continuing to increase a little bit over 60 knots, up around 60 knots. So as the line of convection comes through, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And I'm seeing this in the high-res models that the storm's obviously holding together potentially a little bit longer. And that may be part of because as the storms enter this environment here of this very, very strong low-level jet here, they may be able to maintain their intensity. And if they don't maintain their intensity, we could still see some very, very strong wind gusts as these showers and thunderstorms, although may not be severe, could again still bring down some 45, 55 mile-an-hour wind gusts tomorrow evening as these storms do come through. But this low-level jet, with this position and this speed, does certainly play the role of potentially some strong showers, if obviously thunderstorms, bringing down some pretty strong winds. But again, this is a very, very interesting setup, again, with that convection coming into what a very, very favorable low-level pattern tomorrow evening over eastern New England. So I don't know if the storms are going to weaken as quickly as the high-res guidance suggests, but again, we continue to get high-res guidance in. We will continue to see the trends and obviously adjust the forecast from there. But again, this is a very, very interesting feature that I wanted to put out, as the low-level jet will be strengthening over eastern New England tomorrow afternoon, even though there's a potential for convection to weaken, as some suggest the convection will be weakening regards to its placement and proximity to the low-level jet. And then by 9 o'clock tomorrow, the whole thing is starting to move off and we're starting to lose the best dynamics. So there's certainly a possibility that this makes it all the way to the coast. But again, the main question I think that we have to maybe try to figure out, if you will, over the next couple of hours is, where's the highest probability of the most severe reports? That doesn't mean you're not going to get a few isolated damaging winds in eastern New England, a few discrete cells can't make it in here and cause some problems. But again, the highest threat, obviously, where that SPC has their enhanced risk in western New England. But again, very, very interesting in front of this tomorrow evening, and we can't really forecast too far out into the future on how this is going to exactly, if you will, develop in time. It's just something that we just don't know about yet. It's just too much of a detail for the models, obviously, to resolve about 24 hours out from the time of the event. Here's the 900 millibar wind speed, which is also, again, at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening in eastern Mass. You can see very, very impressive, upwards of about 55 to 60 knots. So again, maintaining my ideas that even though this may try to weaken, it may get a jolt from this low-level jet. Very, very impressive with the low-level winds and the turning in height. Here are the wind gusts tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. You can see a lot of gusts, 35 to 45 miles an hour. Again, part of that low-level jet increasing over our region tomorrow afternoon, and mixing taking place. We'll be mixing up to 850 and bringing some of that wind gust potential down to the surface. Tomorrow evening, again, 45 if not 50 miles an hour. Could be a little bit overdone in southeast Mass, but again, I see wind gusts easily exceeding 40 miles an hour. And I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service forecast in Taunton issues a wind advisory for parts of southern New England here. There already is actually a flash flood watch off to our west. And actually, I should have put that map in, but I didn't. But I will actually pause here and put it on in because I would like to show you that there is a flash flood watch out for western parts of our coverage area. And then tomorrow evening, things begin to calm down as the whole event will move through. Again, here's the twisted data, 500 millibar height field winds. You can see that nice jet streak coming in at 500 millibars, up around 80 knots. Again, aiding convection, maintaining potentially further east than, again, what some of the models have. So again, and also this is also going to be, again, a big flash flood where some of the models putting out, if not 3 or 4 inches of rain, if not more, in western New England, hence why various forecast offices have put the flash flood watch out. And then tomorrow evening, again, you can see upwards of 70 or so knots. So I'm going to take a quick pause here, and we're also going to take a look at the NWS hazard map. Here is the National Weather Service forecast office in Taunton, Massachusetts. Looks like they actually extended this flood watch a little further east. Again, it was just in really not in west of Worcester County. Now it's in the Worcester County. It looks like Middlesex County here as well. But again, flash flooding is going to be a real threat with this, especially if we see trading thunderstorm, which some of the models are suggesting. Very, very heavy rainfall, precipitable water amounts, upwards of about 2 inches. So again, very, very wet atmosphere also And I would not be surprised if this continues to get further extended east again. If the guidance continues to show convection holding together further and further east, there's certainly a possibility of, flash flood watches being extended further off to the east. And again, you can see how there's a hazardous weather outlook in effect for the severe weather and heavy rain tomorrow. And also, one last good call here by the National Weather Service in Taunton. We were wondering about this a little bit earlier this morning and over the last couple of days. The radar upgrade will be delayed a day, June 20th to the 23rd, obviously, because tomorrow we will have the severe weather coming through, so we cannot have a radar down when you have severe weather coming through the coverage area. So, again, that's it for now, and stay tuned. We'll have another update tomorrow in the morning. Maybe not on YouTube, but certainly on Twitter at StormChaserJS. Once again, my Twitter handle is at StormChaserJS. Once again, stay safe, everyone.